You ever have a moment where you just think, all right, that's it, I'm done? That was me standing behind my iron gate as Victoria Sterling Hayes, HOA president and self-proclaimed queen of Willowbrook Heights, stood shrieking at me, her diamond-crusted fingers rattling the bars like she just discovered her kingdom had been invaded. I swear, if you'd seen her face, you'd think someone swapped her gray poupon for store-brand mustard. She barked, "How dare you slam that gate in my face?" And all I could do was hold my ground, tell myself to breathe and sip my coffee like this was just another day at the circus now, before you think I'm just some neighbor with a chip on his shoulder. Let me back up for a second. 6 months ago, I thought I'd finally arrived after a decade and a half grinding away at my logistics business, pulling 18-hour shifts and sleeping under my desk more times than I want to admit. I'd earned my slice of the American dream, a beautiful $1 million home paid for in cash, sitting pretty among perfect lawns and picket fences. I figured I'd found peace. What I'd really found was Victoria's empire, and in her empire, there was only one rule: whatever Victoria says goes. It didn't even take 24 hours for her to notice me. First day, I get a warning from my moving truck being, get this, slightly crooked in my own driveway. 3 days, and another note on my door this time, because my grass was 2.1 in high, not 2.1. I started to feel like maybe I'd wanted onto the set of a sitcom, except nobody was laughing, except maybe Victoria. It wasn't just me. My neighbor George, a retired vet, was fined for flying his flag at the wrong angle. The couple next door got in trouble for leaving their baby stroller on the porch visible from the street. Heaven forbid. Before long, a group of us, the Willow Heights refugees, we called ourselves, started gathering for late-night whiskey-fueled gripe sessions. I kept a notebook just to track the nonsense, wondering if maybe I was a crazy one. But George, old grizzled George, knocked on my door one night and said, "Son, I fought and NOM survived. 3 rounds of layoffs raise a family. But this woman, this is the toughest enemy I've ever faced." We all laughed, but you could hear the desperation in it, and the fines just kept coming. Wrong shade of mailbox grass, too wild, mailbox too plain. By month 3, I was down $2,000 for infractions. So dumb you'd think I was in some twisted reality show. Still, I tried to play it cool, pay my dues, be neighborly. I'd face worse in business. I told myself, this will blow over. Everything changed one Saturday at 7 a.m. My doorbell rang like someone was trying to wake the dead. I opened the door to find Victoria and 5 clipboard-wielding minions in matching HOA badges ready to inspect my property, like they were the FBI of suburbia. One poor guy even whispered, "Isn't 7 a.m. on a Saturday a bit much?" Victoria's glare nearly iced the sun, and the guy shut up real quick. She tried to push inside my house, claiming she had reports of illegal business activity. I stood my ground, reminded her the law. That's when she went for the kill, tossing out people like, "You don't belong here. This is a respectable neighborhood." Even her own crew looked like they wanted to be anywhere else. She tried to push past me physically this time, so I closed the gate firm, not slam, but close enough to give her a whiff of humble pie. Next thing I know, she's dialing 911, wailing that she's been attacked. Her performance was so dramatic I half expected her faint, but she just kept screaming, "Send everyone." 20 minutes later, 2 squad cars pull up. Officer Thompson, guys, got the face of someone who's already dealt with Victoria way too many times, asks, "What's up?" Victoria launches into a soap opera about how I nearly killed her, with the gate pointing at me like I'm some dangerous criminal. I just sip my coffee and offer to show the security footage. The look on her face when Thompson says, "Let's see the video," was almost worth all the fines. The footage was crystal clear, her trying to shove past me stepping back, gate closing, even caught her calling me trash and threatening to have me evicted. Thompson just shakes his head, tells her, "Ma'am, closing a gate is not assault, but I am filing a report about your attempt to force entry and your comments." That was when the crowd started gathering, neighbors filming, some just gawking when Victoria's own inspection team mutters, "This isn't what I signed up for." An old Mr. Peterson on the board for 20 years mouths, "I'm sorry." You could feel the ground shifting. As if things couldn't get any weirder, Victoria's son Robert shows up looking like he's been up all night. Or maybe like he hasn't slept in days. He tries to drag her away, but his phone rings, and I catch a bit of the conversation, heavy Russian accent on the other end. 2 weeks. "Oh, we visit your mother, even Emily Rodriguez, who's been filming." The whole mess says that sounded like Boris from the deli, but way scarier. Thompson tells Victoria to back off, thanks me for the burger at last week's barbecue, and strolls off as if it's just another Saturday. As the cop cars roll it out, I texted Stan, my private investigator, and one-man cleanup crew from my business days. It's time to see what Victoria didn't know is I've been working my own angle, just like I'd done 100 times before in business. Emily, who lost a child last year and got fined. $300 by Victoria for letting her plants die while grieving handed. Me a thick folder with evidence of everything Victoria had done: illegal fines, discrimination, harassment. You name. A couple days later, Stan calls me. Victoria doesn't even own her house. She's a renter. Her son owes money to the Russian mob crypto gambling debts. Suddenly, all Victoria's bizarre need for control made sense. She was broke, desperate, hiding behind the HOA. To cover her mess, Victoria kept escalating, sending out fake violation notices, posting my address online as suspicious activity, even leaving random junk near my property line so she could accuse me of stealing. Meanwhile, Stan tracked Robert meeting shady guys in Chinatown, losing thousands at poker. Victoria was bleeding money, selling off anything valuable to keep the wolves at bay. The Real Twisted company that owned Victoria's house was looking to unload their entire portfolio, 15 houses in the neighborhood. My business instincts kicked and I bought every last one. When the paperwork cleared, I became Victoria's landlord along with 5 of her precious board members. She had no idea. She just kept ratcheting up the crazy, sending me 47 violation notices in a week. My favorite was that my mailbox had a suspicious aura. Her Facebook rants became the stuff of local legend. My favorite at the time she lived streamed herself measuring my grass during a thunderstorm and ran off screaming when lightning hit nearby, leaving her phone in the rain. But the neighborhood had had enough. People started putting up mock property of new owner signs, holding barbecues in open defiance, flying flags at any angle. They pleased even Mr. Kim, quiet for 5 years, put up a sign that said grass height 2.1 and deal with it. Tiny, my new security guy, 6 feet 5 inches, ex-Marine, became a local hero, telling anyone who'd listen about HOA presidents gone wild. Then came Monday. Victoria opened her mail to find her rent had tripled. I watched her melt down from my kitchen window, glass of wine in hand. She demanded to meet the owner, me, but she didn't know that yet the next 3 days she called every lawyer in town, ran it on social media, begged anyone who'd listen. By Thursday, her credit cards were declining at the bank. Her cousin was roasting her online, and the news had picked up her story not as a victim, but as a cautionary tale of HOA power gone wrong. Thursday at 2, she storms into property manager's office, demanding to meet her oppressor. When she sees me, she goes pale. No, this is impossible, you, she whispers. I slide the new lease across the desk. Rent's due on the 1st. Victoria, by the way, I own 5 of your board members' houses too. She tries to play the power card, threatening lawsuits, dropping names. I remind her gently, your husband built a community center, not half the town. This isn't about him. It's about your son stealing from the HOA, about you trying to run me out. Because I don't look or live the way you want. It's over. Robert bursts and battered and scared, followed by 2 Russian guys in tracksuits looking for collateral. Victoria, for the first time, stands up to them, shows a flash of real courage. Even if it's a little too late, I play my security footage documented fraud. Officer Thompson. In the lobby, the Russians back off. Robert confesses everything: gambling, forgery, using his mother's name to borrow money. Victoria breaks down completely. She offers to resign, apologizes, begs me not to let them hurt her son. Next morning, the whole neighborhood packs into the community center. Victoria stands up, no makeup, no armor, and admits to everything. She apologizes person by person for all the pain she's caused. When she gets to me, I take the mic. Thank you, Victoria. That took guts. Now about those Russians. Robert turned himself in. He'll do community service, get help, testify against the mob. Victoria's resigning, doing 500 hours of service, moving to a smaller place right here in Willowbrook, because running away doesn't fix anything. The crowd votes unanimously for Tiny as the new HOA president. His first act: no more measuring grass with rulers and no more fines for being human. The place goes nuts. 6 months later, Victoria's working at Target. Her name tag reads learning humility. When I run into her, she actually thanks me for giving her a second chance. I tip her $2,000 for Robert's rehab. She asks, why would you help after everything I tell her? Because real power isn't about crushing people. It's about knowing when to lift them up. If you've ever believed in second chances or just want to see what real change looks like, let's hear in the comments. What do you think? Did Victoria get what she deserved, or did karma go soft? That's the thing about these stories. Sometimes a real win isn't beating your enemies, it's turning them into better people.